Day 26 Notes, Advanced Algebra 2. Today we continue our discussion with factoring trinomials. This time we look at factoring trinomials that have two variables. Don't forget that factoring and multiplying are reverse processes. They undo one another. So if I ask you to multiply these two binomials together, its end result could be factored back into the product of two binomials. So let's start off by multiplying these two together. The first products produce x squared. The outside product produces a positive 3xy. The inside product is a positive 2xy, and the last product will be 6y squared, which is a positive number. The two middle terms are alike one another, so we can add them together. This produces x squared plus 5xy plus 6y squared. Now, if I presented to you this trinomial as the start of a problem, your job would then be to identify the binomial pair that factors out of this trinomial, or the binomial pair that would multiply forward to make this trinomial. So, do you think you would be able to find this result, x plus 2y and x plus 3y? I hope that you would, because this process is again very similar, if not identical, to the processes that we've been using in the last two videos, the last 2 days of this section. A standard trinomial is one that has an ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is equal to 1. We can modify standard trinomials slightly, however, to include a second variable, and that's what we're going to see here in each of these two examples. Finding solutions for these modified standard trinomials still requires us to find integers that both multiply to equal the last term of the trinomial and add to equal the coefficient of the middle term. We still look for factors of the last term that add together to make the coefficient of that middle term. As always, we would start by making a t-chart to help us out. For the example of x squared plus 5xy plus 6y squared, we must find first factors of 6 that sum to make 5. So what are the factor pairs of 6, and which one of those factor pairs adds to make 5? Well, the factors of 6, let's start with 1 and 6 and -1 and -6. We could then use 2 and 3 and -2 along with -3. The sum of 1 and 6 is 7. -1 and -6 makes -7. 2 and 3 makes 5. -2 and -3 makes -5. The pair that works for our scenario is the numbers positive 2 and 3. So what this tells us is that the factored result of this trinomial must be a pair of binomials that contain a positive 2 and a positive 3. However, in this case, we have slightly different second position results, or numbers that go in the second position of each binomial. The beginning of each binomial will again be x and x, because the product of x times x matches x squared. We're almost finished by saying that 2 and 3 go in the second positions, because 2 times 3 does equal 6, but we have to add an extra piece in problems like this to accommodate for this y squared. So, what are the numbers that multiply together to make y squared? Well, if you said y and y, you would be completely correct. And here we have a factored result of our trinomial, x plus 2y, x plus 3y. And that matches the pair that we started with at the beginning of this problem. In the next video, we'll practice 2 more examples.